If you've got an interest in the well-being of the environment, consider a career as an environmental auditor. You'll assess the environmental impact of business and industrial operations and ensure standards are being met. Let's hear from an environmental auditor to find out more.
My name is Tyler Bauhaus and I'm an environmental auditor. I determine the environmental compliance of a facility with regulations. Anything that leaves that facility via air, water, or soil is a concern to us in terms of environmental compliance. When a facility gets shut down for an environmental violation, it costs that company a lot of money. So they're relying on you as an environmental compliance auditor to keep them doing their function in accordance with the regulations. So it's a big responsibility. So you arrive on site first thing in the morning. Normally we'll do your safety orientation with the company that you're going to audit. You'll schedule your first site tour, is usually what you'll do. You'll get an overall tour of the facility that'll give the auditor a really good idea of what that facility does. Probably 60% of the time you'll be out walking around the facility inspecting some different parts of the facility that could have an environmental impact. Issues that we typically would run into would be petroleum storage tanks. Petroleum storage tanks can leak, they can contaminate the ground, they can contaminate the groundwater, and that tends to be an issue. And then about 40% of the time we'll be in a building on the facility interviewing people from the site. So determine what they do, how they handle hazardous materials, how they handle environmentally sensitive materials. And one of the things that you're telling them and putting people at ease is, you know, this audit is to determine the compliance with the regulations. It's not a finger-pointing exercise or anything like that. It's to help you improve as an organization. You need to have good communication skills. You need to be able to do proper interviews with people. You need to be good with people from the standpoint of not creating that confrontational environment. You need to create a more of a cooperative environment. So, you know, you'll phrase a question not so that they can do a simple yes or no answer. You'll phrase that question so that they're giving you information. And then you'll say, show me the documentation to back that up. And then likely that person will take you out for a site tour and say, okay, this is what I do, and my responsibility. So the typical tool set that we would have is basically a flashlight, because we need to get into where we need to see some certain things, a pen, a clipboard, obviously our safety equipment that we need to use, but there's no real sort of high-tech testing equipment that we'll actually have with us to do the audit. Each day, at the end of the day, you'll give them the opportunity, if you found any non-conformances or any deficiencies in their program, that gives them a chance to, if there are things that are fixable while you're there, they can fix them during the course of the audit. When you graduate from a post-secondary institution, you won't get a degree in environmental auditing or anything like that. But essentially, if you're in the environmental industry, that's really what you do, is you deal with regulations day in and day out. Whether it's doing an environmental assessment or an environmental cleanup or an environmental audit, you're always dealing with regulations. So environmental auditing is a natural progression. Part of getting an auditor certification is you have to have a certain amount of audits under your belt under the mentorship of a lead auditor. So they'll be part of your team. They'll be tagging along with you when you do the audit. Probably at 2 or 3 years into it is when they can start thinking about getting their own certification. And then at the end they'll write an exam to get their certification.
When I'm selecting people for my audit team, I'm looking for people who have certain knowledge or specialization in the areas that we're going to be auditing. They might have knowledge about storage of petroleum products, soil, vegetation, water, air emissions, and we also have health and safety auditors on our team.
Every facility that you audit is different. As an example, a gas plant is very different than auditing a refinery, is very different from auditing a fabrication facility. And so every time I go to a new facility, I learn something new. I'm very passionate about the environment, and I really enjoy seeing facilities that do their job well, that really are taking those steps to prevent contaminating the environment. I'm so excited to be an environmental auditor because what I do is important for this world. It really ensures that what we're doing is keeping Mother Earth happy, and that there's going to be some place for our kids to enjoy for years to come.
Environmental auditors must be knowledgeable about business and industrial operations, environmental management, and related legislation. They generally have a science-related degree or an equivalent combination of education and experience. Discover more about this occupation, such as educational requirements and salary ranges, in the Occupational profile on the ALICE website. And learn about related occupations, like hazardous waste management technologist. Make the most of your future. Go to alice.alberta.ca.